In this episode of viral finfish disease, let's see pox disease of finfishes. Here, going to discuss the causative agent of pox disease, its detailed histopathological descriptions, clinical symptoms, and followed with preventive measures. Let's we start another episode of viral finfish disease. In this session, going to discuss pox disease of finfishes. This disease it is also called a papilloma disease since it is characterized by the dense formation of papilloma in various sites on the trunk, head and fins of fishes. So what is papilloma? That are benign epithelial tumors. Most papillomas are epithelial lesions. Okay, so pox disease it is one of the oldest recognized finfish viral disease. It is also known as carpox or warts, and it is a chronic skin disease of carp and several related species of cyprinid fishes, including ornamental koi. This benign epidermal hyperplasia that is also known as a carpox or epithelioma papillosum that affects primarily the common carp but also occurs in hybrids of common carp and goldfish, that is Carassius auratus. So, the common carp, Cyprinus carpio, it is probably the most widely propagated species of fish and consequently the most frequently reported victim of this viral disease. Fish infected with carpox are thought to be infected for life, but the disease only occurs at certain times of the year when conditions are right. That means this disease is a seasonal type, occurring when water temperature is between 18 degrees Celsius and 28 degrees Celsius. So this virus that is causing the pox disease, it is identified as a carpox virus that belongs to a group of virus called DNA herpes virus, that is a cyprinid herpes virus 1. It belongs to the member of the family Alloherpes viridae. So, contrary to its name, the causative agent is a herpes virus and not a pox virus. Like all members of the order Herpes virilis, these virions are composed of an icosahedral capsid that containing the genome, a lipid envelope bearing viral glycoproteins, and an amorphous layer of proteins termed tegumen, which resides between the capsid and the envelope. I already said it is a icosahedral DNA virus. It is having a capsid diameter of 110 to 130 nanometer and is having enveloped. Here in this image of thin sections, you can see typical hybrid, that is herpes virus particles in various stages of development in the nucleus are visible. Also, enveloped extracellular virions are also visible. Herpes viruses are important pathogens in fishes, and they have large genomes. Also, precise specialized interactions also resulted in a high level of most specificity. Most herpes viruses infections are unapparent or cause mild disease in natural conditions, but in the case of an immune compromised host or in an environment that promotes transfer of high doses of virus to a native host, these viruses can be highly pathogenic. Here lies 14 non-type of herpes viruses are associated with disease outbreaks in fishes. So fish herpes virus appear to behave very much like the human chickenpox herpes virus. The biology of herpes virus is unusual, and these herpes viruses can exist for many years in a resting stage in apparently in a healthy carrier animals. And during this stage, the genetic code of the virus hides within the animal cells, but no actual virus is produced. Later, the genetic code of the virus is reactivated and a new virus is thus made. The newly made virus causes disease in the infected animal, or the animal may continue to appear healthy but shed virus that can infect and produce disease in the case of other animals. Let's move on to the clinical signs. So the clinical signs may include epidermal hyperplasia, then abdominal distension, hemorrhages, etc. So the epidermal hyperplasia, it may be occur due to any number of causes that may including proliferation of basal layer of epidermis or chronic inflammatory responses. It also occurs on a particular tissue. The infected fish may develop milky white or grey plaques with a waxy or gelatinous appearance on the body surface and fins. Here this picture shows a coecarp, that is Cyprinus carpio, with the carpox infections. Here the pink plaques present on the head of the fish represent focal proliferations of infected epithelial cells. That is, in the case of a diseased fish, we can observe soft, pink, translucent or wart-like growths on their skin. Also, we can note the growths are so fragile that they can usually be removed by gently rubbing a finger over the growth. But this is not a good treatment for carpox because this growth is likely to come back, and rubbing also damages the skin and makes it susceptible to secondary bacterial infection. However, verifying that the growths are soft and fragile also helps to distinguish a carpox from similar type of looking tumors and parasitic infections. Here this is a picture showing the Crucian carp with a carpox infection, and here also a mirror carp with that are indicated with a low level of carpox infections. Here in this picture you can see a fish hanging head up in the water. It is one of the clinical symptoms that are showed by this disease. Another slide, that is, in this case we can observe the exophthalmos condition. It is otherwise known as a Popeye condition. That is, it is medically known as the Popeye symptom. It is medically known as the exophthalmos condition. Here in this condition, here the eyes of fishes are swollen and protrudes abnormally from its socket due to various reasons. Here some images displaying external gross pathology induced by several types of herpes viruses that can negatively impact the aquaculture. In the first picture, that is showed a common carp that is infected with the herpes virus displayed epidermal hyperplasia. I already mentioned about the hyperplasia symptom. In the second picture you can see the skin of white sturgeon that are infected with the herpes virus that are displaying white multifocal epithelial hyperplasia on the skin portions. In the third picture, it is also a common carp infected with the cyprinid herpes virus displaying necrotic gill lesions. These lesions are histologically may be similar to papillomas. Papilloma already said that, but are better described as benign epidermal hyperplasia. The lesions typically develop during cool seasons and resolve when temperature increases and the fish immune system becomes more immunologically active. Mortality is rare in the case of this disease, but severe cases may lead to secondary infections also. Also, the gills of the infected fish showed various type of tissue damages, and due to the death of gill tissues, that is necrosis, the fish are unable to breathe. Also, we cannot mucus secretion can be seen on gills and skin of infected fishes. Here in this slide you can see a lot of about this one describes about the histopathological characteristics. As we know, the histopathological analysis is crucial for description and understanding of a disease or pathological symptoms. Here you can see the picture itself shows the hyperplastic, that is the epidermal cells. Here also we can note the epidermal cells are disrupted, infected cells also elongated and radiated, and lot of mucous cells in papillae distributed also visible. Here also in this slide you can see the dermal fibrosis, vacuolation, a lot of inflammatory cells, and inner base of hyperplastic cells also visible. Here some histopathologic images of alloherpes virus infections are seen. So the first one that is displayed epidermal hyperplasmia, that is hyperplasia of the integument, showed margination of chromatin, and we can visible pale eosinophilic nuclear inclusions are also seen. The second one displayed extensive type of hyperplasia. Third, it showed an infection displayed showing severe bronchitis including hyperplasia and fusion of the secondary lamellae is followed with the pale eosinophilic nuclear inclusions are also visible. Then the fourth one, in the case of hypochromatic nuclei are also seen, is followed with the next one that describes the gill that is infected showing severe hyperplasia of the secondary lamellae, and pale eosinophilic nuclear inclusions are also visible. Severe is followed with severe necrosis, and lymphocystic inflammations are also we can see. Now let's see about the preventive steps. So let's see how we can control the pox disease be prevented. If fish are infected with herpes viruses, there are very few treatment options. Also there are no treatments that can be used to clear the virus from the carrier fish. That we should not. If fish are dying during an outbreak of disease, losses can be greatly reduced by manipulating water temperature. Most herpes virus produce disease only at certain temperatures. I already mentioned the temperature. It is one of the key factor that can impact, that may cause the infections. So moving sick fish out of those temperatures greatly reduces, we can reduce the mortality rate, and these survivors are generally resistant for future diseases caused by the same viruses. But one must keep in mind that all herpes virus survivors are carriers. Fish that survive herpes virus infections appear healthy and normal, but are likely to carry the genetic code of the herpes virus. Those carrier fish may, when stressed, release new virus into the water and infect fish that are not previously exposed. Those newly infected fish may also develop a disease and spread the virus to other fishes, so it become the carriers and may infect other fish at a later time. So it is these healthy looking carrier fish that makes it very difficult to control herpes virus in fishes. That is the important thing we should not. As with other disease, control measures also need a good fishery management. It is one of the best way to avoid the disease outbreaks. Here also I listed some of the control measures that are beneficial to control the disease. So pox is more likely to infect fish when they are stressed. So the stress factors may include many kinds, maybe high stock densities, poor habitat and poor water quality. So keeping stock densities low, it is very important to avoid carpox infections because high fish stocks cause stress to the fish, making them more susceptible to infection. Decreasing water temperature are also a cause of carpox. It is often a cause of carpox, as we already discussed that water temperature, it is a key factor to carpox infections occurring. The temperature of the water cannot be controlled, but regular monitoring of water quality such as the dissolved oxygen content, pH and ammonia, that we can monitor and can be managed, and it is essential to prevent the problems within these problems to control the particular disease, pox disease. So also I conclude this discussion about the pox disease of finfishes. So we already seen the clinical signs, symptoms, and also seen that many type of herpes viruses are there that are affecting the fish and damaging the fishes, and survivors of herpes virus infections also carry the virus, that also we noted, and many infect other type of fishes in a later stage, that also we discussed. Then so from this we noted that the carriers are extremely very hard to detect using laboratory test, but some virus, that is herpes viruses, have limited distribution. So the best protection, it is a good biosecurity program to prevent the introduction of the virus. So when we can minimize the disease outbreak and we can also minimize the losses by manipulating the water temperature.